Hello, this is Tom from Tabletop Tap Room and the Star Frontiers Gamer. And today with me is Skip Shelton, who is doing something Star Frontiersy. And so I thought we would introduce him. Kip, thanks for coming on the show. I appreciate it. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm an old, fat, bald guy, so there's the trifecta of me. Let's see, I've been an RPGer since probably 78. I have played about a zillion of them. Just retired from motion picture. So I have worked in the industry as a producer, director, editor, special effects guy, and enjoying my retirement creating new RPG stuff. So
nice.
That's what I do.
So, there's been a little bit of a buzz in the online community, and people were like, hey, what's going on with that thing? And so that was why I thought I would chat you up and see if I could get you to come on the show. Now, you're actually, you've started a company called AC0. Is that not correct?
That is indeed correct. AC0 is, the name came from the throwback because I was a first edition player of Dungeons and Dragons. And so it was to hit armor class 0. And so that was where we decided to name the company was AC0. And what we did was we found that there are a lot of people that really liked first edition. So what we did was we went back and we have people that write articles about first edition. We create new spells, new magic weapons, new all kinds of stuff based on this. We've created a new world for AC0 called Barsalis that has an entire new set of lands, new set of rules in a sense, in that there are entirely new creatures, new monsters, new modules, new just about everything. And once we decided to create that, it's been going well. It's been going really well. And because we have these new creatures, new monsters, people have asked us, hey, did you think about branching into other areas of the original TSR properties? Well, one of my loves was Star Frontiers. And I've had people ask, do you want to do Boot Hill? Do you want to do Gamma World? And it was like, eventually, we're going to be trying to hit all of them, creating modules. But the original intent for AC0 was, we're not going to sell content, we're going to give it away. And these are, if you want a printed copy, you can get a printed copy. All we do is we ask that you pay for the printing and pay for the shipping. If you want to download it, you can download it. The way that AC0 is eventually going to make money is that we're probably going to end up selling dice or, dice bags or things like that with our logo on them. But other than that,
you talked about doing it for free, and so this was one of the concerns. Yes. Is that in recent history here, you had some squatters on the Star Frontiers trademarks. First, it was Evil Hat, and my understanding is they got a cease and desist from WotC, and then immediately, cease and desisted. But that was 2018, and actually, because of that happenstance, I know that we at the magazine had to halt production of the magazine, and so we let it life howl for a year. Let WotC know we're starting up the fan magazine again, unless they tell us not to. They declined to contact us, so we just went back to business as usual with the fan magazine. But then this new TSR thing came along. And that has been a whole fiasco. And so people were actually contacting me concerned that what's going on? What's going on with this? So that's good news that you're you're not. It doesn't sound like a squatting on the trademark to me.
No. As a matter of fact, as you know, the licensing agreement that they have, they put in their licensing agreement it mostly they're saying for Dungeons and Dragons, but it doesn't say Dungeons and Dragons. It pretty much says the TSR or Wizards of the Coast properties. Right. So that covers Gamma World, it covers, Star Frontiers, it covers Boot Hill, it covers all of them.
So you would then be using the OGL.
Right. So with the original game license, it kind of covers all of the properties. But the thing is, if we have Star Frontiers on the cover, if they have a meltdown about us having Star Frontiers on the cover, we do have an alternate title. And that alternate title we call Border Space. So if they're not going to let us use Star Frontiers, we'll go ahead and call it Border Space. But it is a Star Frontiers adventure module with, and we're not profiting from it. So we're not making any money off of the name. So there's a lot of copyright law and property law, IPs that, well, having worked in motion picture long enough, knowing that the only thing they can have a meltdown about is the logos. So if they decide to, we have a contingency plan.
Okay. Well, I suspect they might probably, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say. I've been following the court case that's been going on over Star Frontiers New Genesis for more than a few years now.
Right.
This has been going on. It feels like it's been going on a decade actually, and I just want it to be over. But
right,
it's hard to say what they're going to do because there have been things I thought they should do this. They don't do it. They don't consult me, obviously.
Right. Well, the interesting thing is that if you have the fan magazine, you think they would be contacting you to let you know what's going on. You would think that as a big fan magazine for the community, they would want you to get the message out of what's going on. Especially when you went to them and said, hey, we're going to fire up the magazine again, and they don't contact you.
Yeah, that was Frontier Explorer. And honestly, at that point, the editor-in-chief, he had a contact at WotC. But Tom has backed off from his activities in the community, just family and work. So we've kind of lost that little bit of an in with the company that he had. I have no contact with the company. They don't answer an email from me. So I'm small potato. I get it.
We've contacted them and had no contact back.
So we're in good company.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's that was the concern that some people were contacting me, and so I'm glad that we can lay that to rest. That you're not another new TSR, and it certainly. I looked at your treatment of the module, and there was no racist content. There was no homophobic content that was in the Star Frontiers New Genesis material. So I was, greatly relieved with that. Now, one of the things I thought, it appeared to me that you were using a lot of AI art. Is that true?
Yes and no. Here's how it works. If you use Photoshop, Photoshop now has AI built into it. Now, what we do is we will do preliminary sketches, come up with ideas, and then if we have them in Photoshop, we can have the AI improve upon what we've already done. So we start with a base of art already.
Okay.
So that the art is already prepared for us, and then we have the AI either improve upon it, take away from. So it's kind of works both ways. So we don't just use AI art. We have artists that do the work, and sometimes we have it first, or sometimes if we're in a hurry, we will have AI generate something for us. So we do, like I said, we have both.
Okay. So, you know, that's one of the divisive issues is going on in this
Right.
in the RPG community, obviously. And I've made a public stand to not use AI in the production of the magazine, just because we have artists who are concerned about it, and they have supported us so well. And there have actually been times where I had so much art available to me. Why would I even use AI when I've got great artists producing it? So I've stayed away from it. But it's divisive, and it's one of the concerns in the community. Are you using AI writing at all?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah. Well, one thing I've noticed is AI writing generally stinks.
Yeah. Well, I think the problem is that AI can't. AI doesn't have an intuitive. It can't think like a human can in terms of trying to lay the plot like you want it to.
Right.
So when you're coming up with an idea, it can't lay it out like you want it to. So
how often does your background and experience as a director in that media of doing movies and TV inform how you write an RPG?
Oh, it actually helps quite a bit, because knowing everybody's position is important to me when it comes to working on a film, but it also helps when you're writing, because when I'm working on a project and I know everybody's job, I'm not going to put something in that I'm not going to edit, that I'm not going to add special effects for. There's no point for it. So when I'm writing, I'm trying to think of, is this going to affect how I'm going to do something? But at the same time, whatever the final outcome that I'm going for, I'm trying to find a way that outcome can be shifted by this event will affect it, or this event will affect it. And what I want to do, especially for stories like this, is the main goal of the characters will be affected by 5 different events. And those events are not a roll to see what's going to interfere. These are 5 events that are happening simultaneously in the story that they're going to have to deal with. Okay. And as a director for motion picture, I like those kind of stories, and I like to direct those kind of stories, because they're surprises that help with people didn't see it coming. And I'm not talking about the M. Night Shyamalan, what a twist kind of thing. I'm talking about these are not just a twist. These are major events. And one thing I like to do on top of everything that's happening is I like a running clock. I like characters to be, with all of this happening, the clock is ticking. So that's how I like to do things.
I've picked that up from Professor Dungeon Master over at Dungeon Craft YouTube channel. That countdown timer puts pressure on the players. We can't dither and try to come up with the perfect plan. Let's come up with a plan and go with that, and hope it works and see what breaks. Also, my wife's in theater, and one of the things I'm aware of is you put a clock on stage. It increases the tension for the audience, that the whole that clock ticking and
right.
And so I love that. So when you say that to me, I'm like, oh, ding, I like that.
One of the things that I think that's really great is that a DM or a GM, no matter what your plan is, can derail your plan no matter what. And that's why these options, and I can't even call them options because they're integral parts of the story. The DM or the GM can decide when those things could interfere in the story.
Mm-hmm.
So makes a difference.
Yeah. Now, with this Star Frontier Central Command, which, and yeah, and clearly you're using the font here, but you have a whole new logo you've added. And one of the things I was unclear about with this is it looked like you were doing audio plays, or
Yes, that's part of the module. Well, here's how it works. Within
okay.
in the module, what we've added, it'll be accessible on the website. And when you're reading through the module and you like characters, when they come into a room, you'll say something like, on the screen, you'll see this, 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 and this.
Okay.
You can pull it up on the your computer or your tablet or whatever, and you'll see what they're actually seeing. They can hit the button and hear the voices of the actual characters or what the screen is. You'll hear from the computer, you'll hear from like the captain's log, the dock master, those kind of things. You'll hear those voices. So it's not just the GM having to provide those voices.
So this is almost, is this a tool for the game master to hit play at the, if you're all gathered around the kitchen table, you have a laptop open, he can hit play and run a little, or is this like an interactive game you could play solo? I'm not clear on
you can't play solo. What it is that the characters can have their phone open and they can make the choice, okay, I'm going to listen to the captain's log, or I'm going to hit this computer function, or I'm going to do this, and it does it. The GM is only going to roll dice depending on what that response is. But the GM will still guide the adventure by saying, okay, you've entered this room and this happens. Those kind of things will still be happening. But we've added one element of interaction by saying this kind of thing is available to you to be able to hear these things instead of the GM having to do 27 voices and, all of those things to. So we decided to
make the game master's life a little bit easier is what you're trying to do.
Yes.
There are some people in this world who I think would kiss you for that. So, I think that's a great idea. I'd love to see how it plays out, because I absolutely think that's a great idea. And possibly something you should use in fantasy gaming or Call of Cthulhu or any of those other things.
We actually, I had a game a couple of weeks ago, a group of guys that I play with. One of them, Charles Gilchrist, who is a member of the group online where I met you. He invited me to the group, but he's a guy that I play with regularly, D&D. So we tested this audio on the group. I was DMing and I tested it with a character that I programmed all of her responses. And that's how we tested it. And so we did her voice to the crew, to the group, and they thought it was fantastic. So I didn't have to do a female voice DMing.
Yeah. I'm kind of like, that's a great idea. And I'm known for stealing ideas. So, I call myself, when there's no polite company around, an idea whore.
Well, there you go.
So I'm like, I certainly think that's a great idea. Anything that makes a game master's life easier, I certainly endorse that, and I love this idea. So it's not a strict radio play, but it kind of is. But it's really a tool for the game master.
Yes.
And if the players don't care what the captain's log is, they don't have to listen to it, and they miss a clue. That's on them, anyways.
Right. Exactly.
All right, fantastic. So why don't you tell us a little bit about this module you're coming out with, this Singularity Ballet for Star Frontiers. This is an Alpha Dawn adventure?
It's actually from the expanded. So what we wanted to do was, like I said, there are a lot of twists and turns in this, and we opened it up to people that wanted to proofread it. There are some new races, like one of the ones that you had up there just a second ago, that guy.
I thought this was a Huma from Zeb's Guide.
Right. No, this is actually called the Jackaratus. Okay. And the Jackaratus are some pretty bad guys. So they are in the module. You'll get to meet them. But this module has, like I said, a running clock and several things that are going on simultaneously. These things, can't tell you much about that without giving away some major things. These things, again, wow. If you proofread it, you'll find out all of these things. But we've opened it up for people that want to proofread it. Now, the thing I can tell you about proofreading it, if you decide you want to proofread the module, we're sending it out in sections. It comes out in 5 sections because we're trying to release the module at the 1st of next month. If you read it in sections 1 through 5, you're not going to want to play because you've just been given everything. So you will want to GM it, but if you play, you'll know all of the stuff already. So It won't work very well for you. But all of the things that we have done to do this, we have tried to make it a fantastically fun adventure. Brand new to the Star Frontiers universe. As you can see there, we added border space to the top of this one so that it says that instead of Star Frontiers, this is our alternate cover. Okay. And just that we want people to have fun when they play.
Right. Well, I think it's wise that you already have an alternate cover just in case, WotC, has a cow over you. Yeah,
we just wanted to make sure. And so people are aware, this isn't a short, this is a 65-page module.
Which is about the length of the original rule book, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. I believe so. And it's big because there's the ship itself, there's a lot of maps, but there's 4 ships that you're going to have to deal with.
Okay.
So, and that's giving away part of the story. So
4 deck plans, that'll bulk up a module pretty good.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
I said 4 deck plans, that would bulk up a module pretty good.
Yeah. Plus, with everything that's going to be going on, you'll be moving through all those decks so quickly. And like I said, we hope you have a great time playing it. One of the things that we're also adding that you'll be able to access on our website, original music and original sound effects, so that you can have that playing while you play. So for backgrounds for GMs, while they're playing, you'll be able to hear the decks of the ships, all of the stuff that's going on. That's even besides the computer voices and everything else.
Wow. That's kind of fascinating. So you're kind of going value added. Is there anything else you're trying to do for Star Frontiers?
Well, if this module is well received, we have ideas for others continuing in this series, because one of the things that, in my opinion, was Star Frontiers, they killed it way too soon.
Yeah.
And there is just not enough content out there. And there's not enough innovation. You know, we need to expand the universe. We need to expand. There's not enough technology. There's not enough. When Star Frontiers was written, technology was where it's at. You know, it was based on what we knew at the time. What we knew at the time then has been far surpassed just in what they had. You know, now we have things that then looked fantastic, but now, you know, we can add things to technology, which we added a few in this module, but we want to have corporate espionage and, you know, all of these kind of things that are much different than what we had then. We have all these great ideas for new modules that can have crews that, you know, stop wars and just all these different kind of things that we would look forward to doing. We just have to see how this one's going to be received. And if it's received well, we'll add more. We also plan on adding Boot Hill and Gamma World and, you know, those kind of things as well.
Gangbusters.
Exactly. Gangbusters is on the list.
Yeah.
So any gaming system that people like and want to add content to, contact us. And we'll be glad to take a look, see what the licensing options are available, see if there's a way that we can do it, and we'll look at how we can get content.
Fantastic. Well, when you told me you were a fan of Star Frontiers, I said, well, you know, this sounds like my kind of people. So, you know, and you know, I'm glad that you're doing this. This sounds like you're being innovative and creative, and you're trying to give back to the community, and that's certainly something I approve of. One of my goals has always been to try to build community and support community through the magazine as much as possible. You know, and this sounds like you're coming at it from a fresh perspective with your module, with all these extra things you're doing, with the background music, with the you can click on this button and listen to the captain's log. So it saves the game master having to manage handouts. And I just think that's absolutely fantastic. It just sounds very innovative. And I certainly want to encourage you to keep at it. And, you know, I'll send you a link where you can download all the magazines. We talked about your access to the magazines.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah.
I will share a Google Drive where I've actually stored all the stuff with you. You just, you know, download it and have access to it.
That'd be great. Thank you. I appreciate that.
A couple decades of content there from fans, you know, who love the game.
Great. Yeah. Well, one of the things that we want to do too is if fans have things that they want to see or ideas that they have, we have no problem giving them 100% credit, and we'll build out their content. Or if they want to write articles for Star Frontiers Command, anything like that, hey, put it out there. We'll put you up on the site. We'll write the articles. If they want to do artwork, we'll give you 100% credit, things like that. Whatever you want. This is all for the community. Because we feel like Star Frontiers died too soon. And we are in a gaming community that people still love this game.
Yeah.
And while Dungeons and Dragons gets all the love, I'm not saying that Dungeons and Dragons is not a good game. It is. I play. But I think Star Frontiers is a great game. I think Gamma World was a great game. I've had a flood of people asking me for Boot Hill. I think I played Boot Hill one time, but the problem with it was I didn't have a lot of people want to play at the time. So I think a lot of these side, smaller games that didn't have a big community are finding their community again. And Star Frontiers was one of the ones that I so loved. And I am finding that more and more people out there are wanting to play or have been hoping to find a community. And I thought, with this module, maybe we can find a community and a new way of playing that will attract more and more people back to what this game was. So,
on that point, I can say that I just got involved with the teacher at a middle school in my local area that was running the D&D club, and they were having a field day, and they had so many kids who were interested in playing D&D, she could not handle it all. And so I volunteered to run a game, but I said, I kind of feel like I'd like to run a sci-fi game. And so I brought Star Frontiers, and I had 6 kids play in the game. And at the end, they were like, Mr. V, they called me Mr. My last name's Verall. So they called me Mr. V. They said, Mr. V, this was fun. And I was like, that's the best praise ever. And these are all middle schoolers. These were 7th and 8th graders. And they thought Star Frontiers was fun. And so that, to me, that just confirms that, the game is great. It's a lot of fun, even with all its, a little bit of wonkiness to some of the rule systems that should be tuned up. Sure. But it's still a great game. It's still fast play. I love it. And I love it because it's so fast play and it just is.
And at least you didn't have to take them through Mission to Barrier Peaks. So the sci-fi adventure for Dungeons and Dragons. So, but that's fantastic. Giving this adventure to a whole new generation, giving a game that maybe there are kids out there that don't want to play Dungeons and Dragons, but they find their adventure in sci-fi. And Star Frontiers is the game to do that.
Yeah.
So, maybe you don't see yourself as a dwarf, but a Dralosite is how should I put this without sounding old? It's your jam. So
yeah. I love all of the core 4 races in Star Frontier. They all are unique. They all feel real. They all feel very playable to me. I absolutely love them. I have a soft spot for Yazarians, but I've played a few Dralosites. So hey, great talk, Kip.
Thank you.
Anything else you want to tell the community about before we sign off?
Hey, if anybody wants to do a pre-read and check it out, and you're going to GM, shoot us an email at admin at starfrontierscentral.com, and that's Star Frontiers Central, not Star Frontiers Command, Star Frontiers Central.com. We'll take a look, and we start sending out tomorrow. So the first piece of the module, anybody can take a look at, but just keep in mind, if you're going to want to play, it's not a good thing. So, but
I want to play, but I also end up refereeing quite a bit.
But and if anybody has any questions, they're more than welcome to ask them, and we'll answer anything that they want to ask, except how it ends. So,
well, spoiler alert. We don't want to spoil it for people.
Exactly.
So. All right. Well, Kip, this was a great interview. I thank you for coming on the show. I appreciate.
Thank you.
Definitely appreciate everything you've shared and what you're doing for the community. And I'm so glad that you were not part of that other stuff that was tied up in a lawsuit. And
not me.
Yeah, no. Hey, I love the ideas I'm going to steal from you today that I just got today. I'm like, stealing that. stealing that. I absolutely
Yeah,
love
not
that.
a problem.
So,
And if you need help on trying to figure out how to use it, let me know.
yep. I will be in touch with you again in the future. So this is Tom for Tabletop Tap Room and Skip Shelton for AC0. And thanks for tuning into the video. Thanks to my subscribers. You guys are great. And keep on gaming, and we'll see you in the frontier.